weapon technology shaped the course of human history. Some of the most awesome designs are hundreds, even thousands of years old. But now, the most deadly weapons of all time are getting a makeover as modern technology puts a new spin on the ancient past.
Oh my.
Chad Hauschnick leads the way.
I want one, I want one. No, I want two.
1 part master engineer
I think I can do that.
and 2 parts mad scientist. He'll get a helping hand from Mike Lowe's, a man who knows a thing or two about history.
This is the world's first flamethrower.
And what gives these weapons their edge. This week, the boys play with fire, examining the world's very first flamethrower. The heat is on.
Man, that is hot.
Chad's under the gun. Can he fry the opposition and make a scorching terror weapon, or melt under the pressure?
Very, very evil.
You're one of those people who think that the flamethrower was invented by the Germans in World War I. You'd be wrong. This was first developed by the Byzantines in the late 600s.
I've got what has got to be the best damn job in the world. I'm getting paid to build flamethrowers. My challenge.
Oh yeah, who's running now?
Find a vintage junkyard Byzantine flamethrower. Bolt it to a boat, then top off the tank with a viscous stew of hideous flaming liquid death. Get out of the way and then let her roar.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you to burn.
So what do you know about flamethrowers?
What do you know about flamethrowers?
Did I set that light on fire? You know, I was a little worried about that when I was looking at that. The first flamethrower was used in Constantinople in the 7th century, and the guy who invented them also invented a special flammable liquid that had very particular properties.
And what were those properties?
To discover that, you need to come with me to England.
Tell me again why I'm driving on the wrong side of the road? Excuse me, the left side of the road? Why are we in England?
Because there's a man here called Colin Hughes,
Colin Hughes.
and he has built a working model of a Byzantine flamethrower.
Man after my own heart, sounds like.
This is the business end. I
Like
wouldn't
that,
like to
yeah.
see that facing you, would you, really? Looks a
Jets
bit-
of flame squirt out here.
Yeah.
Direction.
If you were to fire it into the wind, then you're going to be barbecued, really.
Yeah.
This piping here, that's actually the path by which the flammable liquid
That's right.
travels?
It's coming in from the bottom, through here, along, up. It splits, goes 2 ways, and that enables us to have this pivot here. You're not going to be able to do much if it's fixed. This is on a boat.
Some type of seagoing vessel.
Yeah, yeah.
Then there's a hose of some kind, which hooks up down there.
Let's look at the pump, Colin.
Right. So we've got 2 cylinders, like the Roman fire pumps. And here we have the actual nozzle that we were talking about a moment ago.
So that goes on here.
Yeah, that fits on the front there. Put some fuel in there, like this, then you've got a continuous source of ignition. There you go. That's probably pretty good there.
Alrighty, let's give this puppy a test.
Properly.
First, we're gonna run some water through this beast to test for leaks and other surprises, because we sure wouldn't want to figure that out once we pressurized it with real fuel.
I'll be the slave. Somebody have a whip?
You've just blown your nozzle off.
And that?
There's got to be a better way to build this.
No, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put that back on there. Just hold that for me. What'd you do with your favorite color? The PVC. Just squeeze it up.
I don't think so.
What's that?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'll be interested to see if this does.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Colin, I think's got a couple stone on me, which is that's British for pounds. Not pounds sterling, but
Wait.
Pounds weight. Hey, I'm just calling it like I see it, man.
Well, that's good. It's holding.
Good, that's a good 40 feet.
You think?
It is what I'm pushing.
I mean, let's fire this puppy up. Let's get the go-go juice. Let's fill that thing with fuel.
We can't do it without the fire brigade, can we?
Safety first. Kids, don't try this at home. Unless, of course, you can talk the local fire brigade into showing up.
But we're going to try this with some diesel.
I love the smell of diesel in the morning.
Fire Siphon was designed to shoot Greek fire, an extraordinary fuel that by all accounts could burn on water.
If you could do the honours and light this so as the flammable liquid jets out, hopefully we should be able to throw flames.
Let's try it.
Get on the pump.
I will. A few volunteers?
Gentlemen, could you give us a hand here, please? We have the local fire brigade.
I thought firemen were supposed to put out fires.
Well, they may yet need to. We're ready. There we go. What are you doing?
I'm asking you, swabs! Ready? And pump!
Okay. This is the world's first flamethrower. It was invented about 670 AD for naval warfare. And the Byzantine Empire was under a huge threat from Arab invasion. And that threat was coming from the sea. This stopped it.
Man, that is hot!
This billowing diesel is burning at around 1250 degrees Fahrenheit.
Woo! Roast Byzantine, anyone?
And it works.
Great, am I in trouble? Are they after me?
No, they probably don't know you're here yet.
Thank God.
He's seen the machine, now Chad needs to learn the chemistry of Greek fire. John Naylor thinks he knows the recipe.
He's nearly as mad as you. He likes playing around with dangerous things.
I resemble that remark.
And
Now we've got here rendered beef fat or tallow. I can now add naphtha, naturally occurring mineral oil, the basis of Greek fire. While it's still hot, we can add saltpeter, sometimes called Chinese snow.
that's one of the ingredients of gunpowder.
The next one as well. This is sulfur, yellow sulfur. Now we've got here another chemical.
Just a minute, folks. You didn't think we were actually going to tell you the whole recipe.
Well, let's see if any of this stuff works, shall we? Like that, John?
Oh, wait a second, I forgot to sign my will.
Do you have anything to leave that anyone would want?
Good point.
Well, it certainly jets a flame. What happens if you jet that on the water? Pump it up.
Where's a boat?
John, this works. We have got the sea on fire.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oi, look at that. Any ships in there, they're lost. They're finished.
They can't put it out.
Chad, this is a double challenge. You've got to improve on the Byzantine flamethrower and make a fuel that burns on water. Can you do that?
Yes,
I would like to see that.
I think I can do that. I don't know how.
Now, while Chad plans on how he's going to make his waterproof fuel, I've got a boat to catch in Germany.
I'm on this magnificent replica Roman galley, and we're rowing up the Danube. It's a dromon, a warship. It's pretty much identical to the sort that the Byzantines would have had in the 7th century. The Byzantine Empire is really the Eastern Roman Empire. In 410 AD, the barbarians came into Rome, and that was the end of the Western Empire. But the Eastern Empire carried on because their everyday language was Greek, became known as the Byzantine or Greek Empire. That's where the term Greek fire came from, and they were under threat from Arab conquest. After 632, Arab invasion swarmed out of Arabia. In the 670s, they set their eyes on Byzantium. And the Byzantines had a new weapon. This fire weapon was used for 700 years. I'm now at the forecastle, and here, instead of this figurehead, is where the fire siphon would have stood.
Here's the mission. I've got to take some type of flammable liquid, that liquid flaming hideous mass of goo, shoot it off of my boat
onto my opponent's boat, and then watching it go up in flames. And not kill myself or anyone else in the process. Now all I gotta do is work out a chemistry of my fuel which will burn on water. Don't get any ideas?
All right, so this week's task is Greek fire. Greek fire, the mythical substance which would be shot from the prow of your ship onto an enemy's boat to set it on fire.
The most highly trained flamethrower operator in the United States Marine Corps has come over to visit me this morning.
Hey! Gunnery Sergeant Williams?
Gunnery Sergeant, you can call me Gunny.
Gunny.
This is a World War II Korean War era Mark II-2 flamethrower.
Now, why does the Army paint everything green? I never figured that out.
Because it's much more preferable in combat than blue or yellow or some other color.
Bring it in.
Absolutely.
Lay it out. That smells like straight gasoline.
It is. Regular safe gasoline.
Oh, I love that.
The Germans were the first ones to look at man-portable fire because now they could come up with tanks that would withstand pressure. Through the Dark Ages, Greek fire was lost. We had to reinvent the wheel starting at the early part of the 20th century.
Like the rest of the Dark Ages, it fell away.
I'm still in Germany, and I'm trying to work out exactly how the Byzantines might have used their flamethrowers. Shooting fire from a ship is a hazardous business. It's possible they laid down a trail of fuel in front of the enemy and then ignited it. I'm going to play a trick on them in a minute. They'll be at ramming speed, and I want to see how quickly they can stop. This fire on the water is controlling the battle. Can they stop in time? This is going to be the test. Halt! Feuerwasser! Oh, we're close. Are we going to stop? So look forward and go back. No, we're in it. We're burning. The fire has got us. There's only one thing to do. Abandon ship.
There's a lot of myths that have developed around the flamethrower as a tool. You know, it is a very user-unfriendly weapon. By the latter part of World War II, we had innovated and started thickening the gasoline to get a greater range and to so actually be able to get enough product that wouldn't vaporize to actually cover and continue to burn. It's gelled gasoline for all intents.
Gelled gasoline.
And like all you're doing is putting a mixing agent, which I'm not going to describe.
So you've got this magic powder that we will mix with special gasoline.
Absolutely.
Don't get any ideas. Let's go play with gasoline.
That works.
All right. I've always wanted to do this.
You have that mad scientist look about you, too, so.
Thanks, I've been cultivating that. Okay.
So this is our magic thickening agent.
Let's see how well it takes. When's the last time you or when you were younger, your mom made Jell-O?
Are you telling me this is Jell-O?
That's a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know.
Oh, I know what I wanted to try.
You know, that rates right up there the last time I heard somebody say, hey, Bubba, watch this.
We will set the Armada afloat. It's you and me against them all. Ah, yeah. Right. So, we've set the entire Adriatic on fire.
You notice even on the water, it's continuing to burn.
Right. Yeah, go ahead and saturate that puppy. All right, I'm gonna add some fuel to the fire here. It's all about the fuel when it's not about the machine.
And that's all floating on top of the water right now.
Yeah, so it just kind of pushes it away.
That's why even today, firefighters are like that. If you're fighting a petroleum product fire on top of water, the last thing you want to use is water.
Right, because it agitates and lets more oxygen.
Gunny and I brewed a batch of floating fuel. Of course, the only problem is it's here and I need it over there.
So where are you with building a 7th century Byzantine fire siphon?
Absolutely nowhere.
Apart from some calculations.
Yeah.
And some ideas.
It's actually fairly challenging.
Damn near downright deadly. But that's the gig, throwing gooey gasoline as far downrange as possible.
Chad, there's more than one way to throw flames, and I want to show you a medieval idea. It might just inspire you. and it's in Denmark.
I suppose bugs would have been a bit of a problem, especially after you've been covered in cabbage for 3 or 4 days.
Hey guys! Hello! So, trebuchet is pretty much French for great big flingy thing.
Pretty much, and it is the biggest flingy thing. The trebuchet is the most powerful weapon of the age. This is capable of throwing stones of over 1,000 pounds in weight. Let's get this firing. So this is a wonderful machine, Peter. My friend is winding it up now on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And it was used a lot in the Crusades to fling huge boulders.
Everything from human bodies to beehives.
And, of course, Greek fire.
Greek fire, yeah.
And what sort of range have you had with something like this?
350, 400 meters.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty powerful machine.
Very powerful machine.
Okay, I think they're just about ready. You gonna get out? Let's go.
How did I do for a novice?
As a mouse, you were brilliant.
Yeah.
So that's the big wheel that the hamsters and I would climb around, and then we wind this rope up around that center shaft. And so instead of this rope going that way, it would go that way, and we'd crank it down. But that takes a very long time, and I didn't need enough Wheaties today. So we're gonna use a tractor.
So Greek fire is predominantly a naval weapon, but it was also used on land. In fact, any army that was even thought to have it, the enemy would flee the battlefield. It was so terrifying. So this is your secret mixture?
Yeah, my trebuchet powder, yeah.
Because that is quite some heavy ball in there.
Yeah, about 17 kilos.
Blydekrut?
Yep. Crude is gunpowder.
Right, and Blyde is?
Trebuchet.
Ah, so that's Danish for great big flingy thing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Flingy thing, I like that.
Blyde. It's just like a David and Goliath sling. The trigger mechanism is that hook. Point out the hook.
The hook is there.
Right, and so it's through that ring. So when you pull on this arm with the rope, it just slips right out of the hook and lets it go.
You've kind of got the better job here, really, haven't you? Sort of managerial role.
Yeah, no, I like
While
it.
I'm stuck here holding this stone.
Yeah.
It's a changing world.
Der kommer der ild på!
Ho-ho!
Did you see the fiery tail as it lifted off?
Yes, I did.
Wonderful.
The sling that they use for daily tossing of dead cows and cannonballs and concrete rocks and the village idiot has become entangled, and this young boy has climbed up on the A-frame there with a gaffing pole to kind of flip this little loop off that got hung up.
That'll do, pig.
Fire on.
Look at that!
Boom! So that's it. Alrighty, mighty. Looks like the exact same spot it went last time.
It's very, very evil.
Before I start building what is basically a Molotov cocktail on steroids and put it on my side of the DMZ, I want the blessings of an expert. Gunnery Sergeant Tom Williams.
Right, because it has the volume. So this is the pressure tank. Right, this is a pressure, just like a modern firefighter or scuba diver would have pressurized air. This is a scuba tank. Exactly. A self-contained flaming apparatus. Like I say, this would be the pressure tank, and the purpose of having a pressurized tank is to provide your push, to push the liquid that you want to deliver downrange. You've got your tank filled within 2 inches of the top, but as you use up the fuel, it starts pushing it down. You need to constantly replenish.
So this is a regulated pressure supply.
Exactly. And this tank normally would have over to 2,000 pounds per square inch in it.
That's insane. That's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
What you're saying is you're delivering pressure from your 2,000 PSI tank into your fuel tanks.
That keeps all the volume necessary to push this product until we basically dump everything.
I'm really gonna need some serious power to push my thickened fuel. 3,000 pounds of nitrogen is stored inside of these two tanks. A regulator controls how much pressure flows into my accumulator. The accumulator stores the lower pressure gas until it's needed to push my secret recipe boat-killing compound out of the fuel tanks and on down the line.
Then I'm going to pressurize the whole system up to 250, 300, 350 pounds per square inch. And all of that pressure is going to be held back by
this electronic trigger called a solenoid valve. Hit the go button on this puppy, and fuel streams out of the nozzle and is ignited by a propane torch. Okay, so what am I doing? Well, having taken a crash course in high-pressure system design,
Parker 812 FTS.
I'm now test fitting my fuel delivery system. A tangled mesh of high-pressure hoses and stupid expensive fittings. And frankly, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
That's exactly what I didn't want to do.
Now, the reason we're using this big half-inch line is because napalm is like Jell-O. Imagine trying to pump Jell-O through a garden hose. It'd be pretty hard to do.
Security!
This is absolutely crazy. I'm going out of my mind. They got me building these huge, ridiculous, dangerous things. I gotta get some help in here. I can't take it anymore.
Hey everybody, this is Tim. Tim used to own the building, actually. I was driving down the street one day. Actually, a buddy of mine said, Chad, you gotta see this place. And I drove down and I just signed me up. So anyways, that's the story. Okay, here's our schematic.
Yeah, well, you know what they say about two heads. Anyway, in essence, Tim and I are just trying to figure out the safest route for the hose.
That's my connection to the regulator,
which carries the go-go juice from the fuel tank to the pointy end of my stick.
I don't believe it, but I think I might have actually got this right the first try.
This thing can just go whoosh. Hey, Mike.
Good morning.
How do you spell inert?
I-N-E-R-T.
I'm going to use inert gas to propel the fuel for the Greek fire.
In the sense that it's not flammable in itself.
Correct. Oh, it's a lot safer.
Yeah.
And plus,
safety's good.
Safety's good. I don't want to be on the boat.
I don't want to be on the boat either.
So we got to do it remote control.
And a target?
Yeah. Another boat. What are you doing today?
Well, I'm sort of guessing, but I think I might go and look for a boat. There's as much water inside as there is outside, George.
Yes, it is.
Have you got something else to show me?
I have another one over here.
Okay, let's have a look at that. This is what you might call a Carvel-built boat, isn't it, as opposed to a clinker boat?
Yes, it is.
This is exactly right, you know, for the Byzantines, because the Byzantine boats were Carvel-built, boards butting like that, and what they did was, of course, they put caulking in there, a sealant.
Yeah.
That would make this extra flammable. You got something that's really gonna roar with flame. I think this will do us very nicely, George. Thank you very much.
All right, flamethrower. Great. The problem is, I gotta be able to aim the thing at my target. So, I need to build some type of device so I can pan and tilt. So I can deliver the product downrange to my enemy. The problem is, it's gotta be balanced, right? This is a device known as a gimbal. So, I'm gonna take this ball bearing, I'm gonna mount it on a shaft, on a pillar, you know, a piece of pipe of some kind, you know, sticking up off the prow of my boat. So you can see the prow of the boat, and then I'm gonna extend out beyond that, so in case there's any sort of leakage or something like that, it's not leaking into the boat. Now get out of here, quit bothering me, I got work to do. So that bearing's going to be in there, and then this will be very obvious in a moment. Okay, so these are going to get mounted in here like that, and this is going to spin like that, and little set screws on the side. The barrels are going to be mounted through these holes right here. All right, let's do this thing. Very, very, very annoyed. I've placed these too close together. All right, now, what do I do next? So now I've just got to move the slots.
what was on my drawing and what I was experiencing in real life were not the same thing. And I don't know why that is.
Just get regular construction in here.
All right, like you've never made a mistake. Yep. So sue me. Anyways, it's an easy fix. I just have to widen the slots.
I think I got it right this time. I'll know in a minute. It seems to be that was what was required because now it fits. Now, what we have here is the makings of one great big old party. Why is it full of water?
And when wood shrinks, the water comes in.
Right. Well, it looks like it'll burn nicely if we can get through this 1.5 inches of lead-based paint that's on it.
Oh, it's not lead-based. We're going to test that carefully before we burn anything.
This is an environmental disaster. The boat is covered in fiberglass. There's some things you just don't do. You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, and you don't burn fiberglass boats.
Yeah, well, there's one thing Superman forgot, and that's this boat's only good for one thing. The junk pile. Anyway, I still gotta find a boat to bolt my flamethrower to.
He's gone mad.
Okay, got my go-go juice, got my fuel delivery system. Now all I gotta do is rig up these boats with a couple of remote controls.
Thought we should rename this boat.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. We're gonna put a new name on it. We gotta rename it. The USS Constantine.
Who's Constantine?
He was who Constantinople's named after. He was the Roman emperor. And that's the whole Greek fire thing. You don't like it?
It needs something with a bit more sort of oomph.
You think?
To it. You know, something which sort of, inspires fear into the enemy. I mean, the USS Constantine is like, oh no, Constantine's coming. It needs something, a bit more authoritative. Something which, inspires doom and gloom.
Now, where's that fire extinguisher when you need it?
I've got one over here somewhere.
He's gone mad. Oh, there it comes. Chad. Hideous. Flaming. Stream. Oh, death.
It's a bit more like it.
That is more like it.
Did I spell it right?
Almost. Close enough.
I'm going to build a flamethrower. I'm going to destroy the Earth. It blocks my view of Byzantium.
Hey, Ash, how you doing? Sorry, I was just rehearsing there. Look, these guys have got me building a flamethrower, right? And I got to put it on a boat. Except the insurance man rang up and said, oh, no, you're not. So the compromise is that we're going to go remote control.
That is a remote control common for surface craft.
What is this little trainer switch?
Don't pull that switch. You may just lose control of the craft. We should probably remove it before you futz around with it and lose control of the flamethrower. Whatever you do, funny as it may be, if you get your finger pinched in that, there will be blood. I believe that will turn the gimbal with minimal effort.
All right, that'll work.
This next bit's gonna be a bit tricky. Think about it. I need to power and steer 2 boats, fire the flamethrower, pan the gimbal up, down, left, right, all of it by remote control.
Can't nothing be easy.
Now this gizmo has got 2 axes, one for pan left, right, and one for tilt up and down. And that means 2 motors.
Well, I hope it works. Let's see what happens. Hopefully this thing's powerful enough to move it. Look! Well, there it is.
Yeah, well, the tilt was the easy part, but it looks like this pan left right's gonna need a little bit more work.
One small step for Chad, one giant step for Gimbal Kine. I am one step closer to completion. All that remains now of my 1982 Nishiki Cycle Pro first generation mountain bike is these 2 chain rings and a little bit of bicycle chain.
Chain length. 28 inches, 56 pitches.
51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56.
Come on, baby. I checked this like 4 or 5 times, and yet it just seems like the holes are in the wrong place. I didn't just knock something out of whack when I dropped it, did I?
So, that's a very worn out chain. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It grows a 1/16 of an inch in 5 lengths. So let's see if I've got a fresher chain. I thought you guys were gonna put this boat on the trailer. I thought that's why we had a trailer.
I've asked the boys to go down to the harbor and see if this puppy will still float and actually move, considering all the weight I've got on it.
Now, who did this? When I find out, I'm going to give myself a talking to, because it was probably me. I was building, and I just threw it all away in a hurry. And then, you know, when I do that, I always regret it.
All right, I'm getting a little frustrated here. All I wanted was a simple little dolly so I could get the boat up on the trailer. I'm trying really hard not to micromanage everything.
So what's it hitting on right now? It's on the keel. That's why there was a very specific reason that I wanted to do the dolly the way I first described it.
You gotta pick and choose your battles. And well, I picked and chose the wrong one.
Hold on.